Don't mess around, okay? Go right to Delta. You can tell them where.
Where's our number? Confirmation number.
No, you don't need that. You didn't need
we have to go to the gate.
Just give me your ID.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so A1 is your gate.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
And you're going to get your other seat at the gate.
Okay, so our weekend in Pennsylvania is over. We're about to fly out of Harrisburg into Atlanta to Austin, get into Austin around midnight, and then I have to be up for work around 4 a.m. tomorrow to be at PT. But being back in Pennsylvania was nice. Like, it's been about a year and a half since being back. Seeing friends, seeing family. It was a good time considering the circumstances. But what I'm going to do in this video while we travel back tonight is talk about my experience in the military and specifically how to prepare for the Army and how I prepared for the Army. Alright, so currently we're in Atlanta. We have about a 2-hour layover until our flight for Austin. Now, to give you guys a little bit of context in regards to like my military background, I've been for 4 years now. I'm active duty infantry officer. Schools I completed are airborne school, air assault school, infantry officer basic course, and ranger school.
You're right, huh?
That's madness, dude.
That was packed.
Can I get the fried rice, please? And I'll do the sesame chicken, please.
About drink for you?
No, thank you.
Okay. 1079.
Now, the best thing about the military is they literally give you the answers to the test. They make it pretty easy to succeed and meet the standard. Now, in terms of like preparation, no matter what branch you're in, it's pretty universal. There's physical preparation, physical fitness, and there's mental preparation, like domain knowledge. Most of the time, the domain knowledge, mental edge of it is going to be on-the-job training, or you're going to learn the specifics at your job school or at your duty assignment or your unit. It's on-the-job training most of the time. Your expectations of domain knowledge when you first arrive aren't that high. As enlisted, a little bit higher as an officer. Now, physical fitness is the way that you can either meet the standard or exceed and move above your peers. They give you the answers to the test for every branch. You can find what the standard is for your age, for whether it's push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, the 2-mile run, the 3-mile run, whatever your specific branch requires. You just take those answers, you apply it, and you practice it, and you get better at it. Okay, so like here's a perfect example. I just Googled Army PT standards, and it breaks it down by age group, what you need to do on repetitions for push-ups, sit-ups, and how fast you need to run your 2-mile time. It not only gives you the minimum amount you need to pass, but also what it is to max that event as well. So I'd say 90% of the evaluations in the military are objective. So they give you a task, a condition, and standard. Task is what's the event, condition, where's it at, what's the uniform, what's the equipment that you have, and then standard, like how many repetitions do you need to do to pass this event, or how many deficiencies do you need to find on this Humvee to pass this event in air assault school. 90% of the evaluations are objective. They give you the answers to the test. You just need to work on it and find what your weaknesses are and improve on those weaknesses. 10% is subjective. So like in Ranger School, the evaluations were on leadership abilities, to go or a no-go on patrols and in tactics. It's not necessarily like a given answer to the test. It's a subjective test, but 90% is objective, which makes it easier.
I'm ready to go home, ready to get back to work, ready to hit the ground running. Big week for us. Big week. Restocking.
How you do, sir? That's a cool
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing? Good. It is literally a YouTuber's dream to get a window seat every time, every flight, every single flight.
Crowded in here. Alright, just got into Austin right now. It's like 11:30 p.m. and it's a solid like
40 degrees warmer in Austin than it was in Pennsylvania. So I have to wake up at 4 tomorrow to be at work, to be at PT. Preston has to wake up at 4 to open the gym because the gym opens at 5. It's gonna be a late one. Okay, so before we head back to the house, one thing I do want to touch on real quick is my workout routine that I kind of follow leading up to going active duty. Now, I was in ROTC at the time, so I was mentored by senior non-commissioned officers and officers that were in active duty for years, and from their experience, I kind of built my own plan. Now, I've tried CrossFit in the past. I'm not a fan of CrossFit, and I just can't get into it. So I enjoy like bodybuilding, powerlifting style training sessions. That's what I've done forever. And in college, I was doing like a push-pull legs routine, so I was hitting everything twice a week. Now, I was also doing 100 push-ups every night just to build up my push-ups. Like when I was in college, when we were doing PT tests, I was doing over 100 push-ups within a 2-minute time period, 2 standard. For building my core, I don't do any sit-ups like I get tested in the Army. Sit-ups are just an awful exercise. They're bad for your back, and it's a bad test of core strength. So what I would do is, you can just search it, the P90X ab ripper workout. It's like 15 to 20 minutes. I did it 3 times a week, and I just dominated sit-ups during the PT test, and it builds a really strong core. When I was a platoon leader for like 2 years, my platoon would always want to do P90X ab ripper, and we did it almost weekly. And then for cardio, now we run during PT, but like I did a lot of research and I experimented with my platoon a lot, and what we found is if we would run like once, maybe twice a week for long intervals or durations, like 3 to 5 to 6 miles at a moderate pace, we would spend the rest of the week doing sprint interval training. So what I like recommend to do is 1 to 2 long runs a week at a moderate pace, and then the other cardio workouts will be VO2 max workouts. So it's like hill sprints or track workouts at a lower interval like 400 meters or a higher interval like 800 to 1600 meters. But VO2 max workouts work wonders. Come here. What's up? Are you happy to see us? Are you happy? You have fun with Joe. You have fun with Joe. So I failed to realize that all my clothes from California were still in duffel bags and still dirty. And it's 1:30 a.m. right now, and I'm making overnight oats for tomorrow morning. But the last thing I really wanted to touch on in regards to like preparation or how to prepare for the military, other than like the physical aspect of it, like the domain knowledge or mental agility, like when I was getting ready to commission, all the officers above me were telling me you need to dig into field manuals and references online, because all the field manuals for the military are available online for free. But they're super dry, and if you don't have any like background reference to the material, it's really hard to, I guess, visualize what they're talking about. So it wasn't until like I got to my first duty assignment at Fort Benning, Georgia, and we started getting some references, and I dig into the manuals as I needed to learn on the topics that came up. And that's kind of the way I approached digging into references. So like understanding the basics, skill level 1 stuff. Like I bought the Ranger Handbook and I just learned all that for Ranger School. And a lot of that applies to Army specific things, but it applies to all MOSs, all skill level 1 stuff. And then when we got into more specific stuff, I'd pull out the field manual online that was specific to that task that I had to learn more about. So that's the way I approached that. But if I had to give any kind of advice, I'd say where I learned the most about leadership, duties and responsibilities, wasn't from any Army or military doctrine. It was from actually like business, entrepreneur, management podcasts, and speakers. Like listening to them talk from their experience of leading and building organizations and businesses. There's a lot of crossover between that and a military organization. That's just from my personal perspective. That's where I've learned a lot of the things in regards to leadership and management. So that's the video. I'm gonna try to get some sleep, some rest for PT tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.